Injured in an accident? You may be entitled to a bigger settlement, up to 3.5 times bigger. Your initial consultation is 100% free, and we don't get paid unless we win your case. No matter the accident, we are here to help. The advocates will fight for you because you deserve clarity, you deserve justice, you deserve guidance, you deserve an advocate. Contact us today.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on your YouTube machine on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. Obviously, this is a very different day now based on the news reports coming out of the great state of Utah, which today is not so great. And I think it's a story that's hard for us to ignore. I'll be honest with you. Obviously, we are a sports talk show, and 9 days out of 10, we talk about sports. Today's that 1 day out of 10 where we will talk about sports at some point, I would assume. But this news coming out of Provo is incredible. And that is that conservative activist and talk show host Charlie Kirk has died this afternoon from a gunshot that he sustained on the campus of Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, which is 20 minutes south of my front door. Charlie Kirk was doing an event, as he does. He does a campus tour, and you know that he goes campus to campus, and he essentially debates people on the left-leaning side. Charlie is a conservative, a hardcore conservative. And initially reports were, if you did not see this and if you're just getting to the news today, originally reports were that Charlie was shot by an elderly gentleman who was immediately tackled in the crowd, hauled off. Quite literally, if you see the videos, you'll see an old man being hauled off with his pants around his ankles. Cops are carrying him by his arms. Then he falls down. They carry him literally by his pants and his arms. And people are shouting, "That's the guy. That's the guy." Well, it turns out that's not the guy because now reports from law enforcement sources are telling multiple news outlets now that Charlie Kirk was shot from a distance approximately 200 yards from where he was sitting from a Utah Valley University, campus building. So you're assuming some things here that obviously Charlie Kirk was targeted. I don't know how you would get away from that. But here we are now, just another day in this country where freedom isn't free and we are no longer free. And Jake, I think that's the thing that really stands out to me in these situations. And we'll get to Charlie Kirk and all of that in a minute. But one thing that is really clear here is this is not what America was built on. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really difficult is that I personally, I don't believe that this is who we are. I don't believe that, the majority of human beings or Americans have this level of hate or violence in their heart. I don't believe that. I think that most people, are well within the whatever we're calling normal, non-violent, just everyday person. I think the difficult part about this situation, excluding Charlie's views, are that this is someone who was sharing his views with the world, having conversations with people. Sometimes those conversations were heated, but we also live in the world of social media. So, he has a business where he's talking to people about their views and his views, and they're having a back and forth. And I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. I do think that's what our country is founded on. I do think that our country, the strength of our country is the ability to exchange ideas. But once again, we get to have a conversation today about the fact that one person who clearly had a plan here. Clearly, knew Charlie was coming. Put a plan together. Knew the building. Knew what he wanted to do. Knew how to fire the weapon. Is now taking a guy out. And I think what's really difficult is the first thing that I think of and the first thing that I feel is, damn, like I'm not sure that I'm super comfortable going to events of this nature. I think sporting events are slightly different, but political events, I'm not sure how you could feel safe going to these right now. That's what I think that was my kind of initial reaction, is like, how does anybody feel safe doing this stuff now? I mean, that's my thing.
Yeah, I think, and this is where the conversation comes in, and we do it in sports all the time. Obviously, we are passionate guys. We are exchanging ideas about a bunch of different things, and we're talking through stuff. But on the political side of the line, we're not anymore able to talk through stuff. And we're not any longer able to put a liberal and a conservative in the same room and have a civil conversation. That's what's disappeared over the last decade in this country, and we've got to fix that. And I think the hardest thing about somebody like Charlie Kirk is I agree with almost nothing that he espouses to. And a lot of people are pointing to his quotes about gun violence. Charlie Kirk said several years ago this quote, it's worth some gun deaths every single year to protect the Second Amendment. Well, that came back to roost today. And I think one of the conversations that we're not allowed to have in this country anymore is about gun violence and where we're safe and where we're not safe. And I have no problem with Charlie Kirk's opinions. I don't agree with them, but I think they're vitally important. And, we were all sitting around talking about this before the show. Is Charlie Kirk a bad person? I don't know. I don't know Charlie Kirk. But what I do know is Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to be assassinated today. Let that sink in. And that word is intentional. Charlie Kirk was targeted and assassinated today. And you don't have to like his views. I'm not even telling you that you have to agree with Charlie Kirk on women's health rights or gun violence or immigration, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to agree with him. But he didn't deserve the outcome that we got this afternoon. And until we're willing to have an open and honest discussion about gun violence in this country, political violence will continue. We saw it in Butler, Pennsylvania. Now we saw it in Orem, Utah today. And we immediately jumped to conclusions that this was somebody's fault and this is to blame and this is the liberals and this is the conservatives. This is gun violence. That's what this is. This is gun violence. This is the inability to sit on a stage without calling people stupid or ignorant. We've talked about this. We talked about this during the election. Like the insults. We've got to stop with that because it is that rhetoric and how hot and how violent these things have become and how heated they are, where we're taking something that Charlie Kirk stood firmly on with his Second Amendment beliefs. And now we have to look at that today and say, I don't believe that our country is in a place where we can just let everybody who wants one have a gun. Mm-hmm. Right? Because when we do that, and that's what society has been, this is the result of it. Charlie Kirk did nothing to deserve this shooting today. Charlie Kirk did nothing to bring somebody to Orem, Utah, who stood 200 feet away from him in a campus building and murdered him. His opinions don't deserve that. His free speech doesn't deserve that. His political position doesn't deserve that. And the hard part for a lot of people to take is freedom means Charlie Kirk got to say whatever he wanted. His freedom today was taken away. Your freedom today was taken away. My freedom today was taken away. I live 20 minutes from there where this shooting happened. You think I feel great about what happened to Charlie Kirk today? Charlie and I were on very opposite ends of the political spectrum as far as his belief system and the things that he said. That doesn't mean I like what happened. I am disgusted by what happened. We also had a shooting in Denver today. Like at what point and at who is going to have to pay with their lives for somebody to take action and do something to stop this nonsense? Because as I tweeted today, this is who we've become. This is now who we are. We're not free. We don't have freedoms. We can't. I talked on the show last week about my inability to get a COVID shot. I can't go to a pharmacy in my own town and say, hey, I'd like to get a COVID vaccination. And oddly enough, the pharmacist was upset about that as much as I was upset about that. But somebody 3,000 miles away decided I shouldn't get a COVID vaccine that day. We're not free. And then when you lump on top of that, we can't say what we want. We can't feel the way we want. Because if we do, and we espouse that, there's a chance we're going to get shot and killed over it. Is that freedom? Is that what America was built on? Is that what the Second Amendment is supposed to do? That's a realistic conversation today.
Yeah, it's not easy to have. I mean,
No.
I think that I mean, look, I think it's as simple as like, you know, we're all free to do whatever you're free to do whatever the hell you want to do, but that doesn't mean that you're free from the consequences of those decisions. And you know, one of the things that I think is not talked about enough is that, you know, and you and I know this firsthand. We've done events before. We've had some interesting individuals approach us and try to talk to us, and you know, we've had nothing like Charlie's experience. You know, he you know, Charlie, I think is going to go down in history as one of the most influential and also one of the most divisive figures in political talk. And I think what's hard is that we're getting a lot of that right now, right? It's not to say that he's, you know, some people will say he's a bad guy, some people say he's a good guy, but the reality is his takes, you know, were divisive, much like a sports take, right? I mean, if you say, hey, this team sucks and this is why, you're going to have one guy that hates that take and one guy that loves that take, right? Like that's, and so in terms of like Charlie's views and what he was doing, I do think that when you do these tours and you're going to put up an easy up, a branded easy up for Turning Point, and then you're going to sit under it and you're going to talk in front of, I mean, I don't know how many people were there today, like probably, you know, obviously several hundred, maybe 1,000. It was kind of a smaller venue, obviously at UVU.
Oh, it's a massive crowd, a massive crowd.
I mean, there's obviously inherent risk when you're covering the topics that you're covering. And so my main thing would be, I don't feel unsafe talking politics with someone in a private setting. I feel unsafe. I would feel unsafe, frankly, talking politics in a public setting in front of, in a lot of cases, thousands upon thousands of people, especially at an open air event, not even in a closed facility. Yeah. And I would also double down on this. Again, don't really care what your political beliefs are in this, but just as human beings, dude, that's 2 open air events this year. Or I guess that technically, you know, Trump's situation was last year, I guess, but 2 open air events where, you know, there's firearms involved. That's the issue is that I don't have a problem with people having access to firearms. I have a problem with people who are mentally unwell to a point where they would put a plan together where they're in a building 200 yards away from dude, where they clearly have an assault rifle or a rifle of some variety, and they're good enough with that rifle to end someone's life. That's the problem I have.
But the hardest part of this is if you get on social media, and I would encourage you to stay off of Twitter because it's just a wasteland. But if you get on social media, it's the Democrats' fault. It's the Republicans, the liberals, that's not going to fix it. Thoughts and prayers aren't going to fix it, right? There's 2 children and a woman who now don't have a husband and a father because of thoughts and prayers. And that's unpopular. That makes you uncomfortable. Good. I hope it does, because I want us to do more than put out hollow, empty words that mean nothing. Because I'm tired of thinking and praying and hoping and not doing a damn thing to stop this exact incident from happening. Now, we have no idea who pulled that trigger, right? But this was clearly planned. Do you know how difficult that shot is? Do you guys have any idea how difficult that shot is? And unfortunately, again, not that any of you care about my background or whatever, I've seen too many shots like this. And I can tell you that's an impossible shot for crazy Jimmy, who just happened to, like, think about the Reagan shooting. Guy ran up to him with a gun. John Lennon, guy ran up to him with a gun. That's not what this is. This is 200 yards from a campus building where you have no control of the conditions, because I guarantee you it's always windy in Orem, Utah.
Always.
It is a bright, clear, sunny day. This is not an easy shot. That's somebody who knows how to use it. And the other problem is, I almost guarantee you that wasn't a handgun.
There's no chance it was a handgun.
From 200 yards in a campus building, my wife made an excellent point. Well, he's sitting under an easy up. That makes the shot even more difficult. Do you understand how difficult this shot is? Wait until I guarantee you, we're going to get video of an unknown figure walking away from a building, because there's video cameras everywhere, and the FBI and the ATF are on the way. You know what the funny thing is? Jake said to me, he texted me while I was making my lunch. We were talking about this, and this broke, I don't know what, an hour ago, maybe 90 minutes ago. He said to me, well, look out now, because the FBI and the ATF are on the way.
Yeah.
And what did I say to my wife? Well, that almost certainly means Charlie Kirk is dead. Because why would you be sending the FBI and the ATF if he was alive?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that the conversation around the competency of this assailant is a proper one today. I mean, I don't know what he was aiming at, right? Like, I don't know if he was trying to hit him in the chest or trying to hit him in the forehead. I don't know. I would agree, because of the easy up and because of the angle, that's probably, I mean,
The wind,
the distance away and the wind, you're probably looking for an upper body shot there. But the fact that he hit him in the neck, and the fact that it was as graphic as it was, and it was one shot. Notice this wasn't like several, because there have been several instances, right? Like we all remember all these different instances through the last probably 25 years of, like, attempted assassinations or like attempts at people's lives. And typically there are multiple shots, right? It's not just one shot. Like, it's
right.
Like you typically hear pop, pop, pop. Like it's usually, it's usually like 3 shots. But this was not that. This was very much a, I've got you, trained shooter, gonna knock it down. And so I sit here, and when the news broke, I was like, yeah, dude, this is incredibly tragic. This is incredibly sad. And again, it's not tragic in the sense that I love Charlie Kirk and everything's amazing with that dude, because it's not. But the dude's 31 years old. He was born the same year I was born. Like this guy is a millennial. This guy is in my generation. And the idea that he was sitting under an easy up on a college campus discussing political topics with people, and getting into arguments and stuff, and and just doing that, and that cost him his life, is a pretty wild thing that makes you kind of wonder, like, all right, well, how far does the rabbit hole go, I think, is the question of the day. Like, just how far are things going to go before they start to get better? Because the old saying goes, it always gets worse before it gets better. And I still think we're on the it's getting worse portion of the curve.
I don't think it's gotten worse yet. If I'm being totally honest with you, it hasn't gotten worse yet. And I think, again, I love living in Utah. I hate living in Utah, because when you think about you don't have the freedom to speak openly here. It is not Yeah, it's tough. The political environment here is tough, but
It's unwritten rules, man. It's unwritten rules. You're
And-
not going to speak out against the church. You're not going to speak out against political leaders. You're not going to speak out against the Ryan Smiths of the world or who the hell ever, right? Like any type of leader in the community, Mike, like any of those dudes. Like you're not going to speak out against them. And so that's what happened today.
Again, I tell you, this guy did not deserve that. And I hope that we can have this open dialogue today. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. But this is who we're talking about. This guy right here, those two beautiful children and that beautiful woman did not deserve what happened today. They will forever, those kids will grow up watching their dad die. Understand that. And I can tell you, just following this story, SWAT is going through that campus. And I hope they find the guy. I hope we eventually find out who it is. But I'm going to continue to tell you the shot, because the other thing that I think a lot of people are assuming is that you know, hey, Charlie was on a flat ground. No, he was not. He was in a bowl. This was a train shot. I don't care who you are. Average Joe, weekend warrior guy cannot make that shot. And I've seen it too many times. And
I think well, would you agree that an avid hunter could make that shot? Because now thinking about Utah and thinking about the culture in Utah, you quickly remember that there is a lot of hunting that goes on in Utah. There are hunting seasons. There is land designated for hunting. There's a lot of that activity that goes on in Utah. So, you know, again,
we were up playing golf in Heber. I was up playing golf in Heber over the weekend, which is in the mountains of beyond Park City. And we heard hunters over the weekend, deer hunting. And it's just part of the culture here.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem that I have is it's very different. And I don't want to get too far into this part of it, but I want you to have some context, because I've had this conversation with trained snipers, and I will even tell it's in Oakland and in the Bay Area. The San Mateo County Sheriff's Department has an incredible group of men. And I have talked to snipers about these shots in the past. The hardest part about shooting somebody is shooting somebody. It's very different to sit in a tree stand or a blind and take out a deer. When you have your sights trained on another human being, it's different. Your emotions are different. Your feelings are different. Anybody in law enforcement will tell you it's very, very difficult to put yourself in a place where you're ready to squeeze, right? So it's really difficult to understand who this was and then how they're trained, because this is a trained shot. This is not somebody that just went to Walmart, picked up a weapon, and decided today was the day. I want you to understand that. This is somebody who's got experience. Is this a veteran? Is this somebody that is a militia type person? Like, we need the answer to this question, because this country will burn. Like the Joker says, people will eat themselves. If it is left to wonder who did this, people will eat themselves, because the liberals will blame the conservatives and the conservatives will blame the liberals. And we can't have it be another Butler PA situation. We can't have that. We need answers. This was in the middle of the day. This was 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a college campus. Do you know how many people could have been injured there? Understand how different this is than a mass shooting. You don't have somebody just walking into a crowd or somebody just walking up to Charlie Kirk, this is likely a long barrel. This is 200 yards away from a building in bright sunshine on a windy day into a target that is under an easy up, depressed in a bowl. He was, because this area that he was in, he was at the bottom of a bowl. The seating area, it was almost like a pavilion, and he was sitting in the bottom of this bowl.
Yeah.
Man, this is not just some guy who, again, went to,
Shields
and was like, yep, today's the day. That's not who this is.
No.
And I am really concerned because the guy they have in custody, and I am looking at updates here. The local police department last report was they do not have the shooter in custody. The shooter is not in 32 seconds ago. The shooter is not in custody. And I want to make sure this is one of the things we do now. We run around and we're like, oh, they got the guy. Look at him. They didn't get the guy. The old man that was tackled and then his pants ripped off of him and he was carried into a cop car. I don't know what he did, but he didn't shoot Charlie Kirk. We do not have him in custody. So this is going to be very hotly contested until he is. But again, I'm not here for your Charlie Kirk sucked, Charlie Kirk was amazing conversations. Because I don't care if you agree or disagree with Charlie Kirk. Again, I have this picture specifically for this reason. Charlie Kirk's a husband and a father who is expressing his First Amendment rights guaranteed under the United States Constitution. And if you want to wave the Constitution in my face on a daily basis, today's the day we're going to do that. Because Charlie Kirk's freedoms were taken from him today. And I'm asking, what are you willing to do about it? Because that's the big story today. What are you willing to do about it? And I think this is very difficult. This is very difficult in a time where you just cannot understand how difficult it is to be on that campus. Put yourself as Charlie Kirk's wife and children and family.
It's devastating.
He grew up 20 minutes from where I grew up in Wheeling, Illinois. 31 years old, has built himself an empire. I don't agree with him. I don't even like his political leanings. This is wrong. This is wrong.
And my point to that is I really do wonder, in the mass population, how many people agree with that, or do we have more people who feel like because obviously there's the usual contingent of Twitter troll or whatever you want to say that is talking about how hey, he believed this and somehow he deserved that, and it's just like, dude, like this is not, it's just unacceptable. And you're talking about like what to do about it. I don't know that we can sit here and talk about reform and processes and, making it more difficult for the mentally unwell to get a firearm. But the reality of the situation is if we're sitting here having a conversation about the level of premeditation that went on here, that would also imply that the person who had the weapon was of sound mind and clarity, right? I mean, this is a decision by a human being who knows what they're doing. And that's where I say, like, I hate the answer of like, hey, there's not much to be done about the issue of gun violence. But I genuinely, like, where do you go with it? Like, you're not going to change the Constitution. That's just not going to happen. And you're not going to sit here and be like, yeah, hey, Bob, because look, he's got a history of mental illness. He can't do it, but you can. And that's also not going to happen with the way our country is set up. So the reality is we're left here as people to to, on a daily basis, make a decision about the health and wellness and safety of our family and what things we're going to participate in and what things we are not going to participate in, which is where I feel like, this is the part where I feel like we talk about this all the time. You got to be educated and you have to be prepared. And it's not a panic button thing to say, in my opinion, that you need to make better decisions about where you go. You have to be doing risk assessment in the day to day, in my opinion, right now.
But Jake, also, I think it's important to say you can carry a gun on a college campus in Utah. You can put it on your hip, open carry it. You do not need a permit in the state of Utah. You don't need a concealed carry permit. I believe as long as you're 21 years old and legally allowed to carry a gun, which means you're not a convicted felon, you can conceal carry. You can open carry on a campus in Utah. Let that sink in. We can walk around with guns on campus in Utah. And we think bad things won't happen. And I want to make this clear. I'm a gun owner. I believe in your ability. If you are legal, if you do not have a history of mental health, I think you should be able to carry a gun. I do not believe that we should have people that are not background checked. I think that's minimum. I think we need to know, are you a criminal? Do you have a history of mental health issues? I don't want you to have a gun. I don't. And I certainly do not believe in any way, shape, or form you should be able to bring guns into public buildings, onto college campuses, into sporting events. I don't believe that's not smart. That is not smart. I don't know how are we reconciling that? That's just fine. That's what I can't get my head around. The rhetoric around guns in this country on a day like today, where we have one of the most prominent conservative voices in this country silenced today by a shooter who cowardly hid in a building 200 yards away and now probably made off very quietly in the crowd of people running away.
Yeah, because you guys are telling me like they're going to find this guy? I highly doubt that. I think
it's going to be very difficult.
I think
very difficult.
I think that, and again, I hate saying this because it's almost like giving credit to the person who did this, but if you have the ability to do this, then you damn well considered your exit strategy and what exactly you were going to do. And it really bothers me that I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, dude, like this guy was on UVU's campus, probably drove up the Provo Canyon into the mountains. I mean, are you telling me he just drove down the 15? I wouldn't drive down the 15. Like, that's the problem, dude. That's the issue, is that the nature of this event is genuine in the sense that, hey, you're on a college campus, you have an easy up, you're literally just, I think he's got like two speakers on two tripods and a mic for him and a mic for the person talking, and he's just having the discussion.
Dude, this is not, I'm just telling you now, this is not an amateur. And I don't know what that means, but I don't know. I think we have to take action. We just can't continue to lose our brightest minds in this country. And again, I don't care if you agree with Charlie Kirk or not, or doesn't matter to me. We cannot continue. This is the life of savages. This is who we are. Let's be really clear about it. And I think most of you agree with this. This is not abnormal in our country.
No, there's no factual way to say that this is abnormal.
Right? Can we all get down with that? This is not abnormal.
Yeah.
Right? It is not abnormal in any way, shape, or form. It is not abnormal to privately sell and privately trade guns in the state of Utah. That's not abnormal here. And when you do that, because I think people like to talk about, people believe that guns are bought and sold in gun stores and at gun events, and Do you understand the private gun industry in the state of Utah? Neighbor to neighbor, friend to friend, family member to family member, right? Like, I crazy story again in Oakland, because that's where my crime reporting was. It's like 3 a.m. in Richmond, California. I've told this story on the show before. I'm out with the Richmond Police Department at 3 a.m. covering a story on violence, gangs, and drugs in the city of Richmond. We roll up on a car that's just packed with weed, and they are sitting there rolling joints. And this guy's got those file boxes, the brown file boxes? Like, he's got a file box full of Ziploc bags full of joints. He's got bags of marijuana, and they've got guns. And it's at a point in this country where the cops don't care about your weed or your guns. They just want to know that you guys are who you guys are. They want to make contact with you. It was the most normal, cordial conversation I've ever seen. And the guys weren't like trying to hide their stuff, because that's the culture that's become pervasive in this country. Like, if it was just a gun, like everybody always loves to say, gun show loophole. If that was our biggest problem with stopping illegal gun sales, we would have stopped it already.
Yeah.
But it's not.
I think the other thing, just like timing wise and like, narrative wise, that we've been dealing with is this whole, just the gun issue has very much been in our face lately, even before today, right? Like with the violence, clean up the street, the Trump shooting. Yeah. I mean, all of it. And so it just, I don't know, man. I think that the hard part to swallow is that there isn't a lot to be done about it. I don't believe that there will be a high catch rate with this guy. I think he's very capable, and I got to be honest with you, as someone who lived in Utah for 10 years of my life, five years at a time, broken up. There's a lot of ways to get away. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, it's not difficult. Like, there are a lot of ways, if you do it the correct way, to get out and get off the grid, as they say, to get into the forest. And that's my concern. And, unfortunately for UVU, like, this is drastically going to change the course of the university and every student that's involved in that university. And, this is what we deal with. And all I have to say is, again, you got to get educated about guns, in my opinion, on some level. Like, you can't just live life and not understand, like, hey, this is what you're up against in certain situations. Like, you need to know, hey, like, if there's an active shooter, what to do. Hey, you should probably have at this point in our country, with where we are currently, I think it's worth considering a personal protection device at some point. Like, if you're not, I think you're putting yourself at risk, depending on what your job is, depending on the situations you're in on a day-to-day basis. So I just, that would be my, if you're listening to this, that would be where my head would be at. You're not going to solve gun violence overnight. And that's the reality of it.
Yeah. You guys want to, so remember I told you this wasn't an amateur.
Yeah.
How about the Associated Press using law enforcement sources to produce this graphic? Yeah, just Jimmy who went to Shields. Do you guys know how far that is and how hard that shot is? From an elevated position down to a target the size of Charlie Kirk from 200 yards at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in breezy conditions, while the target is sitting in a depressed area with an easy up over him. And I'm really curious, and I'm really curious. What's one of Charlie Kirk's big talking points right now? And what happened in Qatar yesterday? And what is one of Charlie Kirk's biggest talking points? Israel, Palestine. And every time something like Qatar happens, and if you didn't see Israel bomb Qatar going after the Houthis, and missed. And I'm curious. I don't know. I'm guessing, and the journalist in me says not to do that. This shot, you guys, I know you're all gun experts, and you're going to tell me I'm wrong. And okay, let's just caveat here. I'm wrong. I'm stupid. I have no idea. You don't know.
It's an SEC show.
It's an SEC show. Fat Mormon dead, dying soon. Totally get it. This is a pro. I'm just telling you right now. That shot, if you don't live here, and if any of our Utah listeners want to back me up on this, there's never a calm, breezy day in Orem.
No.
And the other thing about this campus, you look in the top left corner of that picture, that's a baseball stadium. It's right next to the 15 freeway. I know this campus well. It's always breezy. This to hit him, and I agree with what Jake said, and I'm sure what everybody in the comment section is saying, and I appreciate all the comments. I'm trying to be very careful about talking about getting into the comment section. I am telling you, this is not everyday Jim. This is not the deer hunter. This is not, and I'm certain that we're going to get in the comment section. Oh, I hit a deer this isn't you shooting a deer. This is not you shooting a deer. Because again, one of the things that if you know this campus, and I have stood, if you look at the red box, Kirk was sitting here. You see that that pointed sidewalk? I have stood on that sidewalk to the left of that red box.
The wind would have been left to right, towards the right side of towards the white building there, the white portion of that building.
He is shooting over trees, over people, and he very well may not have had a clear look. Because
hey, by the way, where did he hit him? Where did he hit him in the neck? For all the wind doesn't matter, people.
Yeah,
it would have been his right, shooter's right.
It went into Charlie Kirk's right. It looks like from the video, it hit Charlie on the right and exited left. And this is not just average Joe. And if it's average Joe, holy cow, that's the shot of a lifetime, which I really doubt.
If it was, I just, it's not. There's no way for it to be. I mean,
no way.
It's the other thing that graphic you had on the screen also points out is something that harkens back to the Trump shooting, which is, this is a rooftop, a really good place to be prone to be in the absolute best position possible to make a shot of this variety. And I would also point out, again, I haven't specifically been on that campus the way you have, but if you look at the campus, it's not a campus. It's not anything like Utah's campus or even BYU's campus. It is not a open sort of like free flowing, easy access to get around type campus. It's much more compact. It's much more of a walking campus, which tells me that there's no way that this dude didn't have an exit strategy. There's no way, like if you're looking at the options, I don't think he probably went to the 15. I'm going to be honest. I just don't. The 15 that's not where you want to go.
No.
Because there's too much vision. You're going to go up into the mountains. Yeah.
You're going to go up into the mountains. And I just can't tell you. Oh, and now campus police are confirming that building. This is an accurate map. Campus police are confirming that building is where the shot was fired from. According to AP News, campus police at UVU are now confirming this location is where the shot was fired. So, it is going to be very interesting to see what comes out of this and how all this plays. I am
simply put, just stop being surprised.
Yeah, stop being surprised.
Stop being surprised. Stop being the shock factor initially is always going to be there.
Yes.
But I have to say, like, I am a little burned on the, oh man, this is not commonplace. This is not, I mean, how could this happen? No, like this is commonplace. This is happening. This is happening multiple times a month. And I would agree with some of the commenters saying that, yeah, there are other shootings that don't get as much coverage. Well, of course not. This is Charlie Kirk, one of the leading conservative voices of the millennial movement, who, in case you've been living under a stone, is the dominant generation in our population currently. So, of course, this is going to get more coverage. But I just think that the message that I personally would send to people is be prepared. Like, prepare for the worst. Do not find yourself in a position where you're not prepared to defend yourself, because I just can't get my head around the idea that I got to think about genuinely. I have to consider, okay, well, hey, if I'm going to go to a sporting event, odds are probably a little lower at a sporting event because security's high. They take that stuff pretty seriously. Like, I don't really feel too in danger at a sporting event, but I genuinely would not find myself at a Charlie Kirk style event. Not anything on Charlie, but just like a political based event. I'm not going to that, bro. I will, as Adam Silver said today, this is a highlight culture, bro. Catch me on Twitter. Like, I'll go on YouTube and watch the live stream, bro. I'm not going to these events. It's not happening.
Yeah. And a couple of updates for you. The campus police and local police and law enforcement now are going out of their way to say the older gentleman that was taken into custody is not a suspect in the shooting. They are not saying why he was taken into custody, but they are clearly going out of their way to make sure everybody understands this is not the guy that shot Charlie Kirk. From this building you're looking at on the campus. They are, I mean, and good for them, because this guy was getting just hammered. And Fox News apparently ran his identity at one point, identifying him as the shooter. But this older gentleman is not the individual who shot Charlie Kirk. So,
I just want to say, stop in the comment section saying that this is a layup. Stop saying that this is somehow
what do you
an
mean
easy shot, and that somehow anybody could make this shot. You're out of your damn mind, dude.
No.
You're out of your damn mind if you think that shooting a human being at an event where there is how many ever people were there, let's just call it thousands of people. You're out of your damn mind.
No. Randy, let's get something straight. There are long-range shooting clubs all over the state. Let's get something straight. Shooting a deer, shooting a rock, shooting a target. I mean, Mrs. Monty and I last fall went shooting out in the Salt Flats with a group of friends and shot 200 yards. If I was shooting at a person, that is a completely different shot. We're human beings. Our minds don't operate like that. So the idea that this is just a guy from come on. It is something that I'm telling you right now, this is not average Joe. That shot, and I understand you guys probably have not been on that campus, that the shot that we're talking about is, I mean, it is, I would guess it's probably 1 in 1,000 if you're just Jimmy. And that 1,000 is going to have a lot of luck because it's breezy down there.
Do you understand how much of a savage you have to be to make this shot? Like, the comfort level, because the argument that we're dealing with here is, oh, well, average Joe gun club guy, maybe hunts once or twice a year, could have made this shot. No big deal. Do you understand, like, how cold-blooded, how savage you have to be to do this? You not only got to look at dude talking through your scope, you have to have a whole plan. You have spent, I would go as far as to say you've spent several hundred hours putting a plan together. This you didn't put in one shift at your 9 to 5 putting this plan together. This is walk the campus, know the conditions, know the weather, know, like, all of it. Like, how did he know where Charlie was going to set up? I know, because he was educated on how Charlie likes to do his events. Like, this is more than just average Joe doing this, man.
Well, and now Fox News is confirming that older gentleman has been released without charges. So that the guy that old man that was on TV, not the shooter, released without charges. UVU Utah Valley University Police confirmed that They do not have a shooter. They do not have a rifle, and they do not have a casing. So I don't know how many Jimmies who went to Shields today are going to remember to pick up their casing after they shot somebody. And I think that's very telling. Again, I think that it is really important to understand that this is bad for everybody. Freedom today was a bad day for freedom in this country. Today was a bad day for the First Amendment in this country. Today was a bad day for politics in this country. Today is a bad day for victim shaming. Today is a bad day for the heinous stuff that's being said on Twitter. I'm just telling you now that there's nothing good that comes out of this. And I see the people on both sides cheering and decrying, and there's nothing good that comes from Charlie Kirk being shot today. Nothing. And I'm just telling you, this is not in my opinion, if this is just a guy who has a mental issue, or will this be the incident that'll be enough to move the Republican Party to do something about gun violence? Is this the one where their poster boy, Charlie Kirk, who I think was the golden boy of the conservative movement and likely at some point would have run for president?
Couldn't agree more.
31 years old, a college dropout who built an empire. Is this the one that's going to move politicians to turn NRA dollars away? Is this the one that is going to move the conservatives in this country off of Second Amendment because I don't want the government coming for my guns, which has never happened in the history of this country? Is this the one where we will say Charlie Kirk's young children who have no idea why dad's not coming home tonight? Is it going to be too much to bear that Charlie Kirk's kids for the rest of their lives will have to watch this video? That they will have to take bullying online and in person by the Neanderthals in this country, that their father was murdered on video? Is this the one where the golden boy, one of the closest associates of Donald Trump, is this the one that will move Donald Trump into reforming gun violence, reforming gun laws to stop this nonsense, unneeded, unnecessary violence? Is this the one? Because it's not all the kids getting shot at school. It's not all the people getting shot in grocery stores. It's not all the kids or people getting shot at movie theaters. Is it Charlie Kirk getting shot on campus in Orem, Utah, that changes where we are with guns? I don't know the answer to that question. At some point, it will have to be the conservative movement in this country that does it. Because the liberals want it already. The conservative movement in this country has to take action, has to get into action to prevent needless, nonsensical murders like that of Charlie Kirk this afternoon.
Yeah.
Are you willing? Are you ready?
I just don't know what that looks like. That's the problem. I don't know. What's difficult is, like, I agree. I don't think people are super willing or ready. I would agree with that. I also would agree that I just don't know what the mechanism is, because I'm telling you, the Constitution's not going to be amended. The process for that is too damn difficult, and that's just not going to get done. And the hard part is I think that there is definitely a conversation around, reform and putting hurdles in place to prevent people from access on some level. Like that's all up for discussion, but I think that the thing is the expectation has to change a little bit here. There has to be like, hey, if you're a political leader and you're going to go out and you're going to make yourself available, you need to be, like you have to take steps. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I'm not saying it's Charlie's fault, but what I am saying is that now you got to worry about dying. Like, you do. And I understand as the president of the United States, death is something that you're inherently signing up for. You're just inherently saying, "Hey, I'm one of the most targeted human beings in the world." That's part of the job. But this just feels a little different because this wasn't a 70-year-old old white hair, bro.
Right.
Like, this guy's 31 years old with a family, and it's over for him now. And who the hell knows what his his wife and kids are going to do and what his family's going to do. I mean,
Right.
and what a turning point too, by the way. I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm just telling you right now, this has to be the moment. I don't want the ATF coming to my front door and taking my guns. I'm not here for that. I don't believe that we should be knocking on doors, and because everybody always tells, that's what gun reform, anti-gun reform people are like, you're not touching my guns. Nobody has ever proposed going door to door to take guns. But what I'm telling you is we need, and I hate the phrase common sense gun reform. What does that mean? This is a really difficult, do you know how deep the hole is that we got to dig out of here if we're going to stop nonsensical murders like this? First, we got to catch the guy, right? And I think when you look at things like background checks on every single gun sale, it should be private gun. I'm a big believer that things like private gun sales should be a federal crime. Should not be able to sell a gun privately under any circumstance. Is that going to stop gangs and inner city gangs from handing off guns? No, it's not. Is that going to stop Jimmy the farmer from selling a gun to his neighbor? No, it's not. But at some point, we've got to take a stand and stop the trafficking of illegal firearms in this country. And we're not willing to do that, right? And I think when you look at things like, like this idea that the Second Amendment should be roundly defended. I think we all should have the right to own guns, but there has to be a process to go through that.
Yeah. Yep.
What that is, people on a much higher level than I will have to figure that out. Because there's no simple answer. And I know so many people, when this came up, I used to do a news talk show in San Francisco, and whenever one of these shootings would come up and we'd talk about it, I want answers right now. How do you fit you? There's no hit an easy button and fix it. There's not one piece of legislation that fixes this. That's the problem. Institutional corruption in the gun industry is so old and so well financed that not one piece of legislation is going to fix this. But what we have to do is we have to start the process of filling the hole back. We have to stop things like the NRA. We have to stop the gun lobby. It's no different than the ability to say what you want, to do what you want. Why are you not fighting for those rights? Because that's what's going away today. Charlie Kirk was murdered because of his beliefs. Does that register with you? I'm so pissed off about this because I almost don't care to have the conversation about how I believe that I am just so 180 opposite of what Charlie Kirk believes. But I want him to have the freedom to believe that. And not only to believe that, to say that, and to say it loudly, and to say it proudly on college campuses across this country without having to be worried about a bullet through your neck. Because the other thing that nobody wants to talk about, he's not fucking 80 years old. Let that sink in. Charlie Kirk's 31 years old. How many times on this show have I told you we need young voices in politics? We finally had one, and I hate his opinions, and now he's dead. What about the next 31-year-old who's like, yeah, maybe I can be Charlie Kirk? Nah, not going to be Charlie Kirk now, are you? It is incredible to me that we have moved into a place in this country where there's so much hate and vitriol based on how you feel and believe. And we're willing, this was the problem during the election season where, and the most probably infamous was they're eating our dogs. They're not eating your dogs, but it's that kind of stuff that created physical violence. And so we've gotten to this place where we have all these guns in pretty much every corner of this country. We're the only country in the world that has the problems with guns we have. And we're not willing to do anything about it. We're not willing to get to the truth of issues. We're not willing to tell the truth in this country. What we're willing to do is let people die. Our youngest, brightest voices on both sides of the line are dying because you don't want to do anything about gun violence, because you think whoever took this shot is some guy who went to a long-range shooting club in the mountains. Hey, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the best example of a political figure and executing civil political discourse, civil political conversation that, yes, at times gets heated, right? I think we can all agree that Charlie Kirk, had a bit of a brand for heated conversations with the folks who showed up. I mean, I think that's kind of what he got his start on. That's what made him popular. People were here for the back and forth and getting all fired up. And then I feel like there was this maturation in his brand where he did a better job of staying calm and not feeding into the, hey, let's yell at each other phase of the conversation. And it's tough, man. I don't know. I don't know where you go from here. I don't know. I don't know how someone is supposed to feel good moving on from this. Like they will do everything they can to find the guy. I don't think it's in question how this went down. It's just about finding the guy and tracking the guy down. And ultimately, I hate the feeling of like we can sit here and talk about the changes we need to make, but I hate the feeling of like when would that happen? How is that going to happen? And I feel like in the day to day, just like in you watching this in your day to day life, what can you do? What can you do to mitigate the risk? What can you do to keep yourself safe, keep your family safe? Like, again, I said it at the beginning of the show for those just showing up. I don't believe that this shooter is representative of most people. I don't believe
so.
that most people are like this. However, what I know is that one-off shooter guy is an absolute threat to the entire process. And that's what I think is really hard to grasp and accept, is that, yeah, like most people probably should have a firearm with where we are in our country right now. Like most people need to be more educated about firearms, and they're just not.
And understand that it's just not a toy. It's not yeah. Let's get some of your comments in here. I'm telling you, today is the easiest day in the world to get blocked, because this is not a joking matter.
And I got to say too, just not to cut you off, just really quick, like I'm not sure today, like you said at the beginning of the show, like usually we talk sports and like, obviously like our brand is talking sports, but I'm not sure today is a day to have that conversation. I feel like this is a flat out indictment on someone's ability to have a conversation about their thoughts. Like this is crazy right now. Like, I don't know how we're like, I just don't know how you live the rest of today and you're like, yeah, man, my fantasy team is really struggling. Who should I bring off the waiver wire?
Yeah. If you're not thinking about this, and again, I always say this, I always say when stuff like this happens, I hope you'll talk to your kids about it.
Yeah.
I hope you will talk to your kids about it. Brandon Butler for $5. When the pressure and the whole world is dialed up to 11, people are going to break. Everyone is on edge. Totally agree. Everyone is on edge. And it's unfortunate. Shuey Gonzalez for $2. Charlie Kirk became another statistic point. He really did. And just
I think it's much more than that. I mean, you're not wrong.
There is
but-
no question Charlie Kirk now goes on a piece of paper and is a statistic. There's no doubt. But I don't mean to be redundant, but I am so tired of this. I am so tired of this. This did not have to happen. And I hope this is the one that changes the conservative movement. I doubt, but I hope, because I don't even know what that would take.
But like,
yeah. David Persons, Monty, nothing good comes from anyone being shot. I totally agree with that.
The level of desperation that one has to feel to resort to this level of behavior is immeasurable. And that is what you should be scared of. You should be scared that an American today said, yeah, the day before 9/11, the anniversary of 9/11, yeah, I think I'm going to go shoot somebody. That seems like a really good step to take. Like that, you just can't quantify the mental state of that person. And, that's why I say, like, I would love it if they got this person alive, so then we could ask the person, hey, why don't you tell us your story, dude? Why don't you tell us what went through your mind, why you felt the need to do this?
I hope they catch him. I hope they catch him alive, and I hope we get a full scope on what this guy is. OTC Mapes, a member of the show for 25 months. Nothing random here. It's a targeted assassination. I don't know how it could be anything else from that distance and that kind of shot. And now I'm starting to see on X all of the experts saying, yeah, this is a really difficult shot. And that's what scares you. And with all due respect to everybody saying, oh, I could have done this shot. You couldn't have done this shot. I am telling you, and again, I will just put the map on the screen, man. I've stood on this campus. I know, bro, that is a tough shot. He's in a depressed position. The alleged, and it's not alleged, the university police have confirmed this is the location of the shot. Look how elevated he is. Look how low Charlie Kirk was, under a tent, under an easy up in breezy conditions. At 200 yards, you are not just shooting one person who's standing there sipping on a soda. He is a moving target. And from the video, he gets shot. He puts a microphone down, sits back, and then he gets shot. The guy shot him. The guy waited for him.
There's cell phone video on X right now coming out of people who took video of the guy laying on the roof. All black, hidden from clear vision. You can barely see his outline. Don't tell me this guy was an amateur, dude. Don't tell me that this guy was an average Joe, because he wasn't.
I hadn't seen that, but I saw the CBS News was reporting that witnesses on the scene believe they saw a dark figure laying on a rooftop. So, again, weekend guy in a shooting club. You're 200 yards away, breezy conditions. Again, I've talked about the particulars of this shot. You're laying flat on your stomach. Do you know how hard it is if you are untrained? Do you know how difficult it is to breathe well enough? And this is what people don't understand. Do you know how much of sniper training is learning how to breathe and shoot at the same time? Do you know how difficult that shot is when you're laying on your stomach, fully scoped, and all you are paying attention to is Charlie Kirk, who's 200 yards away through breezy conditions, and you wait for him to sit back, you take the shot, and you hit him. Like, do you understand? I think people are, this is not an easy shot. Sorry, man. It's not. We have to dial down the rhetoric, Lopes Van Gabe says, for $10. In our public discourse, politicians and public figures need to stop demonizing their opponents for votes and clicks. Maybe that calms down unstable people with weapons. And I'll continue to say, and I'm sorry if this is redundant, the heat, the vitriol, the stupid people, they ate my dogs, there's no evidence of that. But yet when we say it, everybody runs with it and believes it. When you call presidential candidates stupid and evil, and what do you think is going to happen? When you attack people, what do you think is going to happen? And the thing that worries me so much about this Charlie Kirk shooting, if we're being honest, I really hope that this is not related to his beliefs on Jerusalem and Palestine. Because that takes this to a whole new level.
Listen, dude, we know it's related to his beliefs on some level, right? I mean, that's the core issue. Is that that's what this was about. But gotta say, like, I think I just saw, I don't know if you can check, I think I just saw Greg Hawkins paid us a comment and said that his family was attending the event or was there. Is that correct?
My wife and son were there when he got shot. Wow. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
And that is a young son. That's when do you guys understand how dangerous this is? And again, I know everybody, and I'm not trying to be an asshole about this, but I know everybody thinks it's Jimmy the Mountain Guy. This isn't Jimmy the Mountain Guy. It's not Jimmy the Mountain Guy. This is nobody else got shot. Nobody else got hit. Nobody.
One shot, one dead.
With what some people are estimating is about 3,000 people in attendance. Others watching from the building in the background. Other people standing around the tent. There were people standing within 3 feet of Charlie Kirk. You think this is Jimmy the Deer Hunter? I got news for you. Was not Jimmy the Deer Hunter. It is terrifying that you have somebody like Greg Hawkins who had his child and his wife were in attendance there. And nobody else was hit. Man, if that's not telling. There was also a high school shooting in Denver today. Prayers aren't going to do it. And if that's how you roll, more power to you. We need action. We need action. We need action. Thoughts and prayers, decades, hundreds of years, centuries, lifetimes. The Romans prayed a lot. I'm telling you, we got to stop with this idea that thoughts and prayers are going to solve things. Thoughts and prayers haven't fixed this problem for generations, and we need it fixed now, right now. This is not, I'm telling you right now, this is a big deal. This is a big, big deal. You know, Nicholas says, it is only going to get worse. It is one man's opinion. This is a disgrace. It is completely a disgrace that we stopped, that what we did today is we damaged our Constitution.
Yeah.
We damaged the Bill of Rights. We degraded it. We discounted it again. And the biggest thing is, and I think this is a really important discussion. And if you, in the comments section, I'd love to hear from you on this. He's 31 years old. Again, take his politics out of it. How many days on this show have we talked about the importance of the millennial generation? I mean, like weekly, we talk about it. Weekly, we talk about it. How many times are we going to talk about the fact that millennial voices need to be empowered so that the future of our country can grow and be secured? Because the millennials truly are the first generation where We're not buying homes. We're not getting married. We're not having kids. We're not investing. We're not none of that. We're just not doing that. And I know that you think I'm probably making too much out of this. But what I'm telling you is this country is changing, and not for the better. And today, we finally have a 31-year-old millennial, whether you agree with him or not, I don't care, who's built an empire, who by some accounts is worth $400 million. Charlie Kirk, murdered today because of his opinions, or at least on a theory that somebody killed him because of what he believes.
I'm not sure what else it would be.
Do you know how bad that is for our country? I said this when Donald Trump was shot, allegedly. That's not good. We don't want to be killing political candidates because we don't agree with them, because this is immediately, and one of the first things I saw today was, oh, these goddamn liberals are so violent. You have no idea who did this. Yet the goddamn liberals are so violent. So automatically it's the Democrats and the liberals that murdered Charlie Kirk. You have no idea. But yet that's where we are in this country, because as Lopes Van Gabe said, echoed my opinion, the temperature's too hot. It's always somebody else's fault. Why don't we just wait until we accuse somebody of silencing one of the great young voices in our country? An entrepreneur, a businessman, a guy who's grown a $100 million empire. And again, I don't agree with almost anything the guy says, but who was brave enough, who was entrepreneurial enough, who had the courage enough, who had the drive and the focus enough to grow himself to this level, and we just shot him in the neck because we didn't like
had
what he
the
said.
courage to speak his mind.
And we killed him because we didn't like what he said. And there is video. I thank you, everybody, DMing me the video. I've got over 30 DMs with that video. And Jake, I don't know if you can grab it or not, but there is video of a shooter on a rooftop. And I'll just say Lorelei, Travis, Steve, Mike, Karen, Wasikowski, Philip, Matthew Marcus says, Monty, you got to see this. This is not, as you said, Jim in the mountains. No, it's not. It's a guy fully dressed in black, laying on his stomach for a long period of time, it appears. For a long period of time. That is scary as hell to me. That is really scary. That's what we're looking at. And if that's a legitimate video, I just am. And all of this video of this guy now on this roof, it is, and there he is. There's a video of him getting up and running. Oh yeah, that's certainly him. Getting up and running off this roof. Now I'll see if I can grab a screenshot of it. Because now we're starting to understand how this all went down. And it's not going to look like much. I'm going to tell you it's from inside, but it'll give you an idea of the trajectory, the distance, and the volume of people who were at this event. And hopefully Jake can grab the video of it. But
yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah. Look at this photo. This is from inside a building very clearly. And I don't want to grab the video because I don't own it and I don't have the right to play it. Do you guys see up here on top of the building across the way, there's what looks like a spigot or a chimney on the white cloud just over the roof line? That is a human being that got up from that position. In the video, they're panning from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. But what I want you to look at in this video is look at the clouds. Do you see the shape of the clouds? That's what windy clouds look like. Number one, here in Utah, it's always windy. Number two, look at all the people. Look at how many people are in this crowd. thousands of, it's like they think about 3,000 people were there. 3,500 is the last estimate I saw.
Ridiculous number.
Look at, and that guy, and I know it looks like nothing, but if you go look at the video online, look at how high up he is. And if you can just understand where Charlie Kirk was perched, that's an incredible shot. That is, I'm just telling you, it is really hard to fathom. And there's somebody sent me a better picture. Let me get this picture for you as well. Thank you. Charlene Jenkins, who said she loves the show.
Thank you. We do have the video now, by the way.
I appreciate that. Let me get this picture first because I want to make sure everybody understands what this is. You see, this is a better illustration of it. You see the red circle? That's the guy when he got up off the roof. And he's running across the back end of that roof. And so you look at it and you see where the black box is there. So you see where the red box for Charlie Kirk is? That's where this photo is being taken from. That's where this photo is being taken from. The black dot in this photo is where he was standing. This is the photo where somebody was taking it. So it's not an easy shot. Here is the video. Look at that. Clear as day. Clear as day. Look how high up he is. He is on the top level of that building. And I mean, that's just a really tough shot. Look at that shot. That is, I'm telling you guys, this is going to be fascinating to find out who this is. I mean,
it has to be someone with access. You have to have access. You know, you have to have resources.
Yes.
And again,
ability. You have to have ability here.
Well, you have to, ability. The word that comes to mind is competency in all areas. And there was somebody, I think, who had done a paid comment. I can't, we're getting so many comments. But there was somebody who said that basically, like, it's not an easy shot to make. That there it is, that one. Yeah.
Thank you for the $20.
Yeah.
Go ahead and read it, Jake.
I was in the Army, taught to handle stress. I don't know how you make that shot when you're worried about making the shot and then escaping. I'd miss all the time because I was worried about promotion points for the rank. And that's kind of what I was discussing earlier, is that the comfort, the familiarity with not just the weapon and the shot itself, but the situation. I mean, again, it's, hey, I got to make the shot and then I got to leave ASAP. And again, it needs to be said, it was one shot. Like, that's the thing that stands out to me. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to shoot 3 times before I run just to give myself the best chance.
Or I'm shaking, so I've got to pop off a cluster.
That's what happened in the Donnie shooting, right? Pop, yes. Pop. That's not what happened here.
And the other thing that I think is so clear, and we're waiting for the update here in a minute. We're supposedly going to get an update here in 6 minutes. There's no shell casing. So he either had it bagged, like there's a mechanism that'll catch it for you. Or he had the sense to pick it up and then make his escape. And he got away, even though people saw him up there, he got away. So he probably, I mean, I'm assuming he had an escape route.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. He ain't going to the 15 freeway.
No. Hell no.
No. If you've ever been back through the mountains in Provo Canyon, or if you go like through Timpanogos or any of that, if he went up into the mountains, you're going to have a hell of a time finding this guy, because I think this is exactly right. I mean, you don't shoot another person easily. I'm telling you, you just don't take that shot easily. Big Blue Horses, I was there. I'm not forgetting that impact anytime soon. Thanks for having the discussion, but I'm out. I can't participate rationally.
Fair.
David Persons for $5. Monty, for people who take their faith seriously, prayer isn't a replacement for action. It is where and why action starts, but it's not. And we don't use it. David, I don't think we use prayer in this country the way that any of your gods, and I know we have multiple gods in this town, no God is going to be like, yeah, let's pray about it. All right, I'm going to head out. I got to get a sandwich. I'm hungry. I missed my lunch because I was praying. So that's what we do here. We say thoughts and prayers to make people think we care. It's a cliche. It's a cliche. For people who believe that getting down on your knees and speaking to your God makes a difference, have at it. I'm tired of hearing about your thoughts and prayers, not you specifically, David. I'm tired of hearing about the thoughts and prayers in this country that are supposedly going to stop bullets, because they don't stop bullets. Prayers are not bulletproof. Sorry, they're not. And I know that we all want to talk about thoughts and prayers, and we all want to, it's rough. It is rough. That, I don't know. I really, and I'm starting to see reports online. I am starting to see that there is possibly a suspect in custody. We'll see. I don't know if that is the case or not. We'll see if there's an update coming here soon. Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, is saying that they have the shooter in custody, which is to say he is not dead. And that would be huge. If that is in fact true, and I am reading on the go here. I want to be careful before I speak. Yeah. But it does appear that Kash Patel is saying that the shooter is in custody. And that let's see, the subject of and I'll put it up here and we can read it together. This is a big deal. This is a big deal, because now we're going to find out why. We're going to find out why. And we're going to find out who this guy is, what his background is. The subject of the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Thank you to the local and state authorities in Utah for partnership with the FBI. We will provide an update when able. So it now appears, according to FBI Director Kash Patel, that the suspect is in custody. And there is a briefing going on right now that we will hope to bring you updates on. But this looks like this is going to come to an end. Which is great because, obviously, I think people want to believe that makes our community safer. It does not. It does not make our community safer. I can tell you that. But if you're just tuning in, yes, we are a sports talk show, but this story is huge, especially here in Utah, where I am. 20 miles south of my front door, conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed this afternoon on the campus of Utah Valley University. By a lone sniper, it appears, on a rooftop from about 200 feet. The UVU, Utah Valley University Police Department, has confirmed this is an accurate depiction of where the shooter was in reference to where Charlie Kirk was. You see that this is about 200 yards. It is an exceptionally elevated position. This was 1:00 in the afternoon. There were roughly 300 to 3,500 people in attendance at a Charlie Kirk event at the Utah Valley University. Charlie is on tour going to different universities, as he was known to do. He was in the middle of a debate with another person. When one single shot rang out, it struck Charlie Kirk in the neck. It is a graphic video that I do not encourage you to watch. But it was evident almost immediately that this was a mortal wound, that he was not likely to survive. And Charlie Kirk is survived by his wife and his 2 young daughters. Charlie was 31 years old. He was a college dropout who built an empire that is now worth hundreds of millions of dollars. If you do not know Charlie Kirk, Charlie was a very close confidant and friend, occasional advisor to the President of the United States, who issued a statement today and then was the one to announce, Donald Trump was, that Charlie Kirk had passed from his injuries. The shooter was at one point believed to be in custody. An older gentleman in his 60s was apprehended at the scene and quite literally captured by the crowd and carried off physically by the police. Mistaken identity. He was identified as the person that had shot Charlie Kirk. There was almost immediately pitchforks out for this gentleman. He has been released without charges, and thankfully, the authorities are going out of their way to make it known that this older gentleman had nothing to do with the shooting of Charlie Kirk. We now know that this shooter was in an elevated position on a rooftop. Here is a picture from behind Charlie Kirk. Again, I'll use this graphic. You see Charlie Kirk in the square box, the red square box. The black box at the bottom of the photo is where the shooter was. This photo I'm about to show you is from the perspective of the windows behind Charlie Kirk. You see in the red circle a gentleman. Now we know the shooter standing up on the rooftop making his exit. Authorities, including Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, have now reported that that shooter is in custody. Utah law enforcement, in cooperation with the FBI, apparently were able to apprehend this shooter. And again, I think the hard part is that we want to immediately blame people when this happens. And I think today we need to understand that this is an opportunity to take action. Charlie Kirk's murder cannot be for no reason, with no outcome. The murder of Charlie Kirk has to serve a greater purpose, a greater good. He was 31 years old and one of the loudest, most influential voices, not only of the conservative movement, but in an advisory role to the President of the United States. These kinds of crimes cannot go without punishment. These kind of crimes cannot be allowed to happen without reflexive action. We'll know if this guy is an American, if this guy is employed by somebody else looking for an outcome. But what I know is when that information comes out, we must act on it. Because Charlie Kirk, for everything that you wanted him to be or hated about him, was a 31-year-old American who was exercising his freedoms today when he was murdered. For exercising his freedoms today. And to me, that's just the hardest part of this. I don't know how you fix it because there's no easy answer. Corey Erickson for $5. I agree. Prayers aren't bulletproof. I use prayer as a starting point to change me. I pray to help change me to the better. Listen, I'm not condemning people who pray. If that's you, and if that's what you feel like you need to do, by all means. Do not believe that praying is going to fix this. Do not believe that prayer is going to stop the hyenas on the internet from throwing this video in his daughter's face for the rest of their lives. The only way you fix this is by solving our very unique American problem with gun violence. That's how you solve this. And I encourage you, if you feel the need to pray, please do. Please do. What made them think this other guy was the shooter? Was he in all black? No. Frankly, he was not. And I'm not going to show you his picture because I don't want people going after this guy. He was in a brown polo shirt and jeans, and they ripped his pants off and carried him away literally by those pants. People I know personally on Twitter calling this old man out as the shooter of Charlie Kirk. And when I corrected somebody, they got all upset about it. Because this is what we do in this country. We jump to conclusions. Hope they catch the guy. He is in custody, Mike Smith, according to Kash Patel, the director of the FBI. The shooter is in custody. I hope this finally sparks some serious debate about gun violence and mental health. Using thoughts and prayers as political talking points does not work. And that's really my point. I always say it's not Christ, it's the Christians. Our problems are not Jesus Christ. Our problems are not of the people who you worship. It's the people who worship that are the problem. And I don't care if your God is Jesus, Allah, whatever that might be. Your God's not coming back to stop bullets. And we need real action to protect our families. That's what this comes down to. Because you don't care about young black kids in inner cities being shot. You don't care about them because you never talk about them. Now, Charlie Kirk, one of the bright white voices in conservative politics, is dead at the end of a barrel of a gun. Is this what moves you to act? Because I know that people get pissed when I say it. I know it does.
Yeah.
But this is a conservative Republican problem. The conservatives are the ones who consistently refuse to have the conversation in this country about gun reform, that will not step in and stop private sales of guns, that will not mandate a background check on every single gun sale, will not put an end to gun shows. And if you're not going to put an end to gun shows, stop selling guns at gun shows. What the easiest way that things leak through the system, those are conservative principles. That's not me being anti-conservative. This is not me being liberal. That's a fact. That is a fact. We had a political hit today. Do you understand that? This was not a mass shooting that was at a nightclub, a gay nightclub in Florida. Nobody cared about that. Nobody did anything about it. This wasn't Columbine High School. Nobody cared about that because nobody did anything about it. This wasn't Uvalde, Texas, which nobody cared about because nobody did anything about it. This is one of the most popular conservative figures in the world. You going to do something about it? Right? And I see everybody today on Twitter and in our comment section saying this is just another distraction from, from the Epstein stuff. I couldn't disagree more. This isn't about Jeffrey Epstein. This isn't about immigration. This isn't about jobs or budgets or deficits or tariffs. One of the brightest young minds in our country is dead because somebody shot him. That's what this is about today. You think the Epstein stuff's going away? Give it 3 days when this is ended, when this is over, when nobody's talking about it anymore.
Yeah, they killed him in vicious fashion in front of thousands of people.
They made an example out of Charlie Kirk. Do something about it. Don't go killing other people. Revenge has never fixed anything. Show me a time when you got revenge and it fixed something. We're not gangs. We're not savages. We're not the mafia. This isn't La Cosa Nostra. We don't go hit them because they hit us. Because who's us? Right? Who's us? What did I say during the election? That so many people got pissed about. We're Americans. You're not a conservative. You're not a liberal. You're not a Democrat. You're not a Republican. You're an American first. And what happens? Conservatives shoot liberals and liberals shoot conservatives. Last time I checked, you don't have to be a registered voter to own a gun. What are you willing to do about it? That's what I struggle with. That's what I struggle with. We want to call them, dirty liberals. Oh, terrible conservatives. Do something about it. I don't care about your political belief. I have come to terms with the fact. I have reconciled the fact We're not going to sit in a room and exchange ideas and differing viewpoints and then shake hands and go drink a beer. We're not going to do that. Nope, that's not what we do. Can't even talk to my brother. Haven't talked to my brother in 6 weeks because we had an argument about politics. Sent him a text about the Cubs a month ago. Did I ever hear from him? No. Why? Because that's what we are in this country.
Yep.
I always joke about my asshole brother on this show, right? I want you to understand something. I don't want to agree with you. I want to hear you. I don't hate you because you have a different opinion than me. I don't hate you because you voted for Donald Trump. I don't hate you because you voted for Kamala Harris. I applaud you. I'm not going to shoot you because you are anti-abortion. I'm not going to shoot you because you are pro-abortion. I just want to talk to you. But we don't do that in this country. Right? I'm not going to sit behind you on a train and for whatever reason stab you. I'm not going to do that. You know, like I just think we've gotten to a point now. And again, I'm just going to circle back to this Charlie Kirk thing. Is Charlie Kirk the tipping point on the seesaw?
I think there's a chance that Charlie Kirk is the catalyst for the masses to have a conversation about, like, what have we become? What, you know, where are we going? Like what
Yes.
are we doing? You know, the big picture, hey, something super violent and super in our face. And again, savage just happened. This dude bled out on stage. Like, I don't care that they took him to the truck and then flew him to the helicopter. That dude was dead. Like, that shot killed him right then and there. You're never overcoming that. And we want to sit here and we want to talk about, you know, like the thoughts and prayers thing, you know, conservatives, whatever, blah. It's all noise, dude. It's all noise. At the end of the day, again, what matters most is what does this do? And that's why, you know, I'm pleased that Kash Patel is reporting that they've got him, because I do want to hear this dude speak. I want to hear what this guy has to say. I want to know what's the point? What was this a? Because there are multiple different ways that this could go for as far as what the shooter was thinking. Oh, hey, I feel really threatened. I hate Charlie Kirk. He's X, Y, and Z. He needed to die. He needed to do all this, basically painting the picture of someone who's mentally unwell. But I got to tell you, I don't think that's what this is. I think that this dude is perfectly mentally well. I think that this dude was looking to send a message. I think that this dude felt some type of pressure or you know, however you want to describe that, a certain amount of agony, if you will, to a point to where he had to go and do something. And that, I think, is where the lessons will start to be learned. That's where you can start asking, hey, like, where are we going? Because this dude got an assault rifle or whatever it is that he shot Charlie with. He got access to it. He pulled the trigger. He had an escape route. They still got his ass. And now he's sitting here. And what are we going to do about it? And that's what I think is just, that's where I say, like, dude, like, this conversation supersedes any other conversation that you're having today, no matter who or what you support. And if you disagree with that, I just don't know. I don't know how you disagree with it, honestly.
And an interesting point. You know, like Jesse Waters on Fox calling for retaliation. Like, how stupid are you? How stupid are you? Like, yeah, that's so dumb. That is so dumb. Oh my goodness. Like, I hope that that's not what we're going to do. I hope that's not what we're going to do. You know, like what
really was the interesting point?
There is a prevailing theory amongst law enforcement sources about where he was shot. And apparently there is a belief that the bullet hit his collarbone or his shoulder and ricocheted up through his neck. So if this guy hit him center mass, that's a once in a million shot. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But some people are really upset with Charlie or with Jesse Waters right now. Oh, that's brutal that he would say that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that, please. Let's not do that. I mean, I really hope that we don't get into this situation where we start calling for retaliation. That's not, see, like, to me, that's just not who our country is. And I hope people get that. But I am curious. I am curious where this goes. Jesse Waters should be ashamed of himself. If he said that they need to suspend him for a time, no need to stoke the fires on this. I totally agree. It's that stuff. It's that stuff that really makes it worse. Right? Like, and that kind of rhetoric is what propel these people with issues. Totally agree. The only thing I think, and I really hope this is not the case, I really hope this is not a foreign agent. That's all. That is the only caveat. Man, I want to hope that this is, and I hate to say it out loud, I hope this is somebody with a mental issue who is off the reservation, and I hope that's what this is. It just doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like that. You know, like it doesn't feel that way. Universal background checks are a non-starter because you need a gun registry to enforce them. I don't know what the solution is. That is something that experts are going to have to figure that out. But I think at some point we have to understand that we can't continue to put weapons of war on the street and think that war is not going to come.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we can't continue to put the weapons that our service men and women carry into combat on our streets. And now when we're putting the guard in our cities, how long until somebody engages them? That's what I'm so worried about.
Well, but that's the essence. But that's the essence of the Second Amendment, right? I mean, that's the soul of it, is the right to bear arms against your government. That's the point of the Second Amendment. The point of the Second Amendment is not, hey, you know, Jimmy Bob wants to buy a handgun, so he should be able to. And the hard part is that, you know, you start to wonder, okay, well, you know, again, if there's weapons of war accessible to people, and the citizens have the right to bear arms, this type of stuff is going to happen. And that's why I say, like, the question of the day is, who are we? Because again, like, I don't think the everyday person wants to do this or would ever do this, but I have to say, like it is an inherent situation that you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to say that, hey, well, you know, Second Amendment. But then when people start dying, you don't get to run from your commitment to the Second Amendment.
That's right.
And that's why I say, like, that's why I don't feel like there's a real tangible quality solution. The solution, again, is education and a commitment to improving the mental health of our citizens. That's the solution. The blinders that politicians have of, oh, well, yeah, we gotta have all this reform and all that stuff's never gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Like just get cool with it. It's not gonna happen. There's too much money in it. You're just not doing that. What you need to do is get educated yourself, learn how to protect yourself, and just be okay that that's the world we live in right now. Because it is. It is. It is.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Like, this dude's going to go down in a history book. You understand that? They're going to write, he is going down, the books that millennials read in high school that were talking about, you know, the assassination of this guy and that guy and you know, like this dude's going in those books now, man. Like, that's what we're talking about literally in real time.
Yeah. And I think, Mason, I don't know if you're in Utah or not. Apparently it's a gun-free zone where he was shot. It's absolutely not a gun-free zone. There is new legislation in Utah, and I think this is because you look at him saying this is exactly why the Second Amendment is important. This is not a gun-free zone. It's the state of Utah is anything but a gun-free zone. I live here. I have a concealed carry permit here. I am a gun owner here. Trust me when I tell you, new legislation in this state provides anybody who's 18 years or older and has a concealed carry permit may openly or conceal carry on a campus in this state. And I believe I even am certain that as part of that, campuses have a special designation where if somebody is seen carrying a gun, campus police can ask them to produce their concealed carry permit.
Which I think is proper. I have no problem with that.
This is not a Second Amendment issue. This is not a gun-free zone. This is Utah, and any of my Utahns in the comment section, because I know we have a ton of people in Utah who listen to this show. There could be nothing further than the truth to believe that the state of Utah is a gun-free zone, because it is not. And I'm not asking it to be a gun-free zone. I am not asking, again, because I see other comments and DMs I'm getting talking about how I want to take your guns. I have never said that. I do not believe that. I want gun sales moving forward to be impacted. That's what I want. I don't want people knocking on my door taking my gun. I don't believe that gun registries work. I don't. You have to get the people when they're buying the weapon. You have to get those people. They need to be checked. What is their criminal record? What is their mental health record? Has anybody ever reported them as mentally unstable? That is just a very baseline beginning. We can have discussions about, military style guns, and what I'm telling you is Utah is not a gun-free zone. And the fact that you would make such a naive statement tells me you don't know what you're talking about. And we just want to go to this, Second Amendment above all. Dude, it's not Second Amendment above all. It should be our right to live free. We are not free. It should be our right to go out to a political rally and cheer and clap and boo and scream and argue. That should be our right, because that's what the Constitution allegedly protects. And you can keep DMing me and telling me that I don't know the law in Utah. I will look it up for you, and I guarantee you the law says that if you're 18 years old or older, and let me just do a quick Google search, that you can carry a gun on campus. And the first thing that comes up, did you even Google it? The first thing that comes up, you guys make this so easy. The first thing that comes up when you take 30 seconds and use the old Google machine, and I'm waiting for it to load right now. Look at the first thing that comes up, Mason, which tells me you probably didn't take any time to read this. Yeah. May carry a weapon on campus, including in an open fashion. Look at the date, July 21st, 2025. Look at the date right there, July 21st, 2025. The new law makes it clear that Utahns 18 years or older who have a concealed weapons permit may carry a firearm concealed or openly on campus. The last line there, University of Utah Police will confirm that those carrying openly on campus have a concealed weapons permit. All you had to do was Google it, and it's a press release, and it's the first one that came up. This is not a gun-free zone. This is not a Second Amendment issue. The Second Amendment doesn't say we get to oppress people's right to live with our guns. Doesn't say that. It does not say that. In fact, the law says exactly the opposite. Yes. Google can help y'all. Just Google it.
It's not that hard.
Before you say something that's stupid, right? Because it's not that difficult. Google is free. Google is free. And, Mason says, I'm talking about the citizens walking in gun-free zones with no weapons. Mason, this was not a gun-free zone. Stop saying it. That's just a lie, and it is factually incorrect. Factually incorrect. I have no problem if you want an AR-15 or M16, but just don't try to tell me what you got it for hunting, because you didn't get it for hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. Like, should we be able to carry guns on campuses? I don't know if that's
I think that's a difficult topic, honestly. Like, I think that I believe we should be able to do what we want to do within the law. And again, it's an issue of, you know, like, no, I don't believe in taking people's guns away. I don't. Like, I just think that that's a core fundamental of our country. It is baked into the soul of this country. Like, you're not doing that. But at some point we need to decide, are we a country that is just going to tolerate this type of behavior? Are we a country that is just going to tolerate dude walking into the NFL headquarters? Are we a country that is just going to tolerate this kind of behavior? Because I believe that there's a way to deter this type of stuff on some level without having to, change the Constitution and go that far with it. And unfortunately, I do agree with the stance. As much as I hate it, owning a gun is a right. It is a right. Driving a car is not a right. Right? Like there's a difference there, dude. Like, it's a privilege to drive on a public road.
Yeah.
It is a right to own a weapon. So, like, I don't like it. It's such a different thing. And that's why I say, like, I don't want to, dude. Do you think that I was excited to do the show today, dude, and talk about this political assassination in Orem, Utah, right where I used to live, right where he lives? I wasn't excited to talk about that, but now we don't have a choice. Now it's like, it's the old saying that you've rolled out on me for my entire freaking life at this point. Now we don't get to do what we want to do. Now we have to do what we have to do. And it's really unfortunate, bro.
And
It is really unfortunate.
I always told Jake that as a kid. There's going to come a point in your life where you, like, think about a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old. They get to do what they want to do. Right? You get to do what you want to do. You go to college, largely for those 4 years, you get to do what you want to do. There's going to come a day, and it's going to be a hard stop, one moment in time, where you no longer get to do what you want to do. You get to do what you have to do. And usually it's financial or a life circumstance. You're having a child, whatever it is. We don't get to do it anymore because politics in this country, and I don't know how popular this one's going to be, but we don't get to talk politics in this country anymore because we get to a place where the governor of Michigan has a militia plotting to kidnap her. Remember that with Gretchen Whitmer?
Mm-hmm.
Melissa Hortman and her husband murdered. Minnesota House Speaker just shot at home. Guy dressed in a police uniform. You look at Brian Thompson, United Healthcare, murdered on the streets in New York. You look at January 6th and storming the Capitol to try and stop democracy and in a political function from being executed. You look at Paul Pelosi. I don't care what you think of Nancy Pelosi. Did Paul Pelosi deserve to be beaten with a hammer in his own home when somebody broke in hoping Nancy would be there to murder her? And I mean, the list is endless. I can keep going. Oh, that's right. That's right. Today, Charlie Kirk was murdered. You think this is just, and this is why I'm telling you guys, like, this isn't just a Democrat, violent liberals. This isn't Jesse Waters talking about getting revenge against liberals. Paul Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi are liberals. They had their home broken into. Nancy wasn't home, thank God. Paul Pelosi was held hostage and beaten with a hammer. And We're supposed to believe this is just very angry liberals doing. That's not what this is. This is our country. Our country has created an atmosphere and an environment where it's okay to brutalize people. And sure, is the guy who broke into the Pelosi's mentally right? No. Did this young girl on the train, was she murdered by a liberal guy? You know, I have no idea. I know he's crazy. We know who he is. We know his background. We know his battles with mental health. Oh, wait, we don't talk about mental health. That's for back alleys and shadows. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. We've got to stop with this nonsense where we politicize everything to the point where people are being murdered for their political beliefs. That's not freedom. Hear me. I'm trying to talk to you. It's not freedom. Our freedoms are gone. You understand that? Like you can't anymore say what you want to say. You can't anymore believe. And we'll find out who this guy on this rooftop is. I just don't believe that this is some wackadoo like the guy on the train or the Pelosi's house. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I know that campus. I know how tough this shot is. And if it is true that the shot hit him in the body, because now the prevailing theory is the bullet hit his body and bounced up into his neck. Bro, he didn't miss. And I don't know. I have no idea if Charlie Kirk, and I mean, I'm sure somebody out there knows. Was he wearing a jacket? Was he wearing flak, or was he wearing a vest of any kind? Like, I mean, I have no idea. But it's starting to look more and more, and I have CBS News on in the background, starting to look more and more like this guy hit him right in the chest, upper chest.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pro. That's a pro. And if in fact this guy is a pro, from where? From who? Are we going to let somebody from another country come in here and silence one of the bright young political voices in our country? And I don't agree with him. Again, hear me really clearly on this shit. I don't agree with Charlie Kirk. He's not my flavor of tea. But he was one of the bright political voices in this country. 31 years old. 100 millionaire who dropped out of college. He grew up where I grew up. Chicagoan Charlie Kirk, Wheeling, Illinois. 31 years old.
Yeah, he in the slowed down video, he's definitely wearing a vest under his shirt.
Is he really?
There is video out now, the same video that was going around, but slowed way down. In the view from in front, if you're looking at him head on, his body, the reason his arms go up the way they did is because it hit his body and shocked his arms up and then went up into his neck. So I do think that theory is correct based on, just what we're seeing. Because if it had hit him just right in the neck, not his body, just right in the neck, he would have been taken clean off the chair. Like, and he wouldn't have been.
Thank you, Dane Buglusovi. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Dane sent me the video on TikTok, and it clearly he's wearing a vest. It clearly hit the front of the vest about here and went in through his neck.
Yeah,
and it looks like it struck his jugular. Frankly, like it just. You have no idea if he was speaking truth. You don't know who the fuck are you to tell me he was speaking truth? You don't know if he's speaking truth. What does speaking truth have to do with it? Does Nancy Pelosi speak truth? For some people, she absolutely does. Did she deserve to get beaten with a hammer like her husband did? Like, what is this? It's no surprise that liberals want to. You're an idiot, and you're what's wrong in this country. When you start talking about liberals and you don't know who killed this guy, you're the problem. That's what I can't do. That's what I can't do. You lose me. When it's a liberal's fault now, How do you have no idea who killed him? Do you know that there is a prevailing theory working that this is not just some random guy who's pissed off because he's a liberal? I know that's shocking to people like you who have no perspective outside of their own. And maybe at the end of the day, maybe this is just some crazy guy on a rooftop. I've never seen a crazy guy on a rooftop hit a 200-yard shot in the upper body. Well enough with a round capable of hitting a bulletproof vest and bouncing up through a guy's neck.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. I agree. Like,
you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. To be blaming this on liberals is ridiculous. And to come in here and say that this, I don't care if you want to call it politically motivated. How could it not be? It's Charlie Kirk.
yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that. You can't tell me with any kind of, there's zero evidence, not a little bit, not a lot of it, zero evidence a liberal did this. Based on what you said. A liberal. Do you understand that that's, and if this is the case, that a liberal or a conservative did this because we have no idea, do you understand that that's how we got here? When people like you show up and say liberals did this, when Jesse Waters is on Fox News saying that there will be revenge, do you understand that this is what's wrong? Do you understand that? Maybe wait for it to be known that he was a liberal. Maybe wait to find out it was a conservative. Because my biggest fear is that it was a foreign, that it was an act of terror. That's my biggest concern. Because that shot right there is not normal. And they didn't know where this guy was, so on some level he made an escape and then he was captured. Let's wait and find, before we start blaming people, maybe we wait to find out the truth. I know that's not popular in this country. Come on. Like it is ridiculous to me that we're doing that.
Yeah.
I just you can't, when you have people that come in here and tell lies. I'm happy to do a lot of things and have a lot of conversation. You're not going to come in here and gaslight the world and proclaim a liberal killed Charlie Kirk. You better have evidence of that, because you're not welcome here when you do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're not. You're just not. And I don't feel bad about that at all. Eric Wasikowski says, pray for the nation. All I'm saying. Okay. Appreciate it.
Knock yourself out, Slick.
Calford gifts 20 Monty Show membership. Corey Erickson, I agree. Prayers aren't bulletproof. I use prayer as a starting point. I think I read that one already, and I appreciate that. Thanks for sharing. You know, Calford is a goat. Well, that is one political nutter that is getting blocked. Thanks for outing your idiocy. Like, it's just one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, it is wild. It is wild to me that guys like you are willing to come in here and be like, oh yeah, I liberals, they're at fault for Charlie Kirk. Like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? Do you even understand what Charlie Kirk's gig was, his shtick was? He used to go into liberal hotbeds and debate people to intentionally rile people up. Why was he wearing a bulletproof vest today, allegedly? Do you think
he knew what it was?
Like, come on, dude. Like, it just is. Yeah, it's crazy to me. In April, someone broke into the house of Governor Penn and set it on fire. Should we all blame conservatives? No. Nut job first and foremost. Like, that's the thing. Let's just wait. Can we just wait?
Well, Monty, why would we prioritize being right when we can be first, right? I mean, come on.
Can we just kind of hang on and It's wild. Again, and I don't mean to be redundant, my biggest single fear is that this is an act of terror. That's my biggest fear, is that this is terrorism. Because if it's terrorism, now we're in a really, really bad spot. And it would mean that a foreign actor had access to our country, and now we just can't have nice things.
Yeah, now we wait to see how far the rabbit hole goes.
Because
that's what I would say.
Now they're talking about that there was no security at this event. Are we at a point in this country where we need security for a conservative rally? Where no politicians of note are there? A radio host and activist is doing a rally and an event he's done so many times, and now all of a sudden we need security there. My biggest fear, that's my biggest fear, is that this is related, because Charlie Kirk has been very, very, very pro-Israel, and almost to an extreme, like an unbelievable extreme. And if that's what this turns out to be, man, that is brutal. That is brutal.
Yeah.
And yeah, Big John, I if it's terrorism, that is very, very bad, because then a foreign operator comes onto our soil. Oh. And I'm sure foreign assassins have done that in the past. We just don't know about it. And maybe
that's what we need. Maybe that's what we need to be united as a country. Maybe we need some kind of reset, some kind of kick in the balls to say, like, hey, like, when are we gonna, when are we gonna come together and actually, like, take this stuff seriously?
Yeah, I think that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. And frankly, I think, kind of wrapping this up, I think one of the things that I would question is if anybody on Charlie Kirk's level ever does another event like this and doesn't have glass up, I would be shocked. I would be shocked. I don't know how you do that. And I'll go back to what I said the other week about pulling Kamala Harris's Secret Service detail. You can't do that anymore. We got to amend the policies and procedures around it. And you look at Donald Trump's Secret Service detail. He's got to have that for the rest of his life, however long or short that might be, because you can't tell me when he's out of office that he's not going to be a target. I mean,
he's a target now. How would he not be?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is the beginning, not the end. Joe did not. I have read he was asleep the whole time, and the auto pen was his biggest weapon. Exactly.
Right.
No one was worse than Rush Limbaugh, and that big mouth was the worst. But he was talented and very good at his job. Right? Jeremiah Champion, yeah, if you think immigration debate was difficult to navigate now, if this was an act of terrorism and it turns out that the dude was here on questionable terms, oh my God. But are we going to bring the National Guard to Utah now?
I didn't want to bring that up, but
right?
You tell me you're going to bring the National Guard into Orem, Utah? I know Orem's not Chicago, but it'll have to do, Donnie.
No, I'm going to say that that's not going to happen. I'm going to say that red states don't get the National Guard treatment, right? Charlie Kirk was a brave man. I think it takes a lot of courage to go and do what Charlie Kirk did. And again, I'll keep telling the Charlie Kirk story. And I'm not a fan of Charlie Kirk's. I think Charlie's views are very 180 opposite of mine on almost everything. But when you're 31 years old and you're a college dropout and you start one of the most powerful political movements in the country, you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're an advisor and a close friend of the president of the United States at 31, I'm going to say you've done some things. And I think that is something that we lost today. And courage amongst millennials does not run high. They need to get like the Pope with a bulletproof Pope-mobile and podiums. I don't know how you don't.
Yeah, but again, this guy isn't a government official, bro. That's the thing. This guy was more, in my opinion. This guy, everyone's saying, oh, well, he wasn't part of the government. Like, how big could he be? He was bigger. I don't think you guys understand that the reach is further. His influence is further. And that's what I don't think is fully being digested yet, is that this guy reached deep into the millennial generation, a absolute social media star. Like, you're not getting away from that, man. And I just think that you know, what we just need to see how it plays out and what comes of the shooter, what the story is, and how it came to be that of all the places Charlie Kirk went to talk to people, Orem, Utah is the one that would be his last. That's what we need to understand.
Yeah, I think I would never, if I were, man, I don't know. I think it's just going to be very interesting to see how we react to this, how we rebound, how we change our stance. And I think when you look at, if this Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, is saying that the shooter is in custody, do we get information? This administration has been very tight-fisted about information. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how much information we get about this guy. Will there be a perp walk? Will we parade him out? Will we know the truth? That's something I think is that I don't think that's beyond question. Will we ever find out who this guy actually is? And if they, in fact, have him in custody, I'm a little surprised they haven't identified him yet or released pictures of him being arrested. I think this is going to be tough to digest unless we find out how it is. And we'll see. Basher, disgusting how you just criticized the one suggesting it was a liberal who did this, then speculate that it was a foreign perpetrator. I didn't say I'm not speculating it's a foreign perpetrator. I said my fear is it's terrorism. My fear is it's a foreign. I think that is worst case scenario. Do you understand that tomorrow is 9/11? Has anybody put that together? Tomorrow is 9/11. Do you think it's out of the realm of possibility that a terrorist did this? Charlie's schedule's been out there for some time, right? I mean, I'm not speculating. I said my fear is. And what drives that, my concern, that shot is not an easy shot. And he hit him in the upper chest. So he was successful. That was a clean, well-executed shot. Jimmy at Shields on the way down to Orem isn't making that shot.
No.
Not dressed in all black, laying on a hot rooftop in the blazing sun. Because that's what that is in Orem, Utah today. It is breezy. You can see. And I would point out, because everybody said it's not windy earlier in the show. I'm watching, again, CBS News in the background. You can see the trees blowing. You can see the security tape blowing. Do you know how hard it is from 200 yards elevated down? Because, again, he's up on top of a roof. Charlie Kirk is down in a bowl, depressed, with an easy up over him, wearing a bulletproof vest. And the guy still hit him and killed him. That's not just average liberal crazy guy at Paul Pelosi's house with a hammer. So my biggest concern is I'm really worried it's a foreign actor on the day before 9/11. So, my God. Kash does his interviews in high chairs. Not today. Terrorism is not just for people that are not American. Plenty of domestic terrorism going on. I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah, you guys got to listen. Like, I just don't know. I'm sitting here telling you not to speculate. And then you're saying I speculated because I said my fear was it's terrorism, a foreign actor. I'm really worried about that on the day before 9/11. And I'm speculating. Come on, man. Like, it is. If that shot, a demon that feeds off of mass disappointment. Let's think about it. What's the one small country in the Middle East everyone knows had a connection with 9/11?
And I'm a vampire feeding off mass disappointment.
Yeah. Toot pants. No nation can defeat the U.S. unless we divide first. Could be a nation wanting to stoke our division. Could be. Could be. Absolutely could be. Well, Americans shouldn't be doing that anyway. No, they shouldn't. I just really hope that we get to a point where, again, and the last thing I'll say about this today, and I think we're just going to end, but I really hope we get to a point where we can talk about things again. Because I don't think we're at a point where we can talk about things. I truly don't think we're able to have conversations that are not in line with how we think and feel.
Yeah.
And that's what really bothers me, is we can't have conversations about things we think and feel because we don't agree with it. And that's the issue. All right, that's it. No cool send-offs tomorrow. I promise you we'll be back on college football. I have a great story that I'm going to hang on to until tomorrow. Appreciate the conversation today, man. Appreciate everything that you guys do every day to support the show. Please hit the like button on the way out the door. If you're on X, please give me a follow. Come on over to YouTube, hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up on the show. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.